can join anytime. I'd like to go ahead and
Okay, so
make
it's
sure that we've got it set up.
setting up meeting for YouTube Live. Done redirecting to YouTube.
Okay. And then you can close that out and go back and come back to the screen.
Okay. Okay. And then I can close out of it, you said?
Yeah, you can close, just come back to the
Okay.
screen.
Zoom. Okay.
Yeah. And then you can set up your slides.
Okay. Well, this week is Tracy is kind of
Okay.
leading. So we'll wait for her to join and then she can set up her slides.
Okay. Well, I am going to leave once we get started, and all you have to do at the end is just close it.
Okay.
So I couldn't see how many people registered. So I have no idea how many people you're going to have. That's one of the problems with meetings, is you can't capture people. So we have one more session after this, is that right? Or, yeah, okay.
Yeah, this one and then next week, those are the last two. I mean, these are the last two, yeah, for this
Mhm.
series.
Okay. So how are things going for you generally? Getting things under control?
Uh, that remains to be seen. However, I do want to get something on the calendar for us so that I can just kind of get you up to speed, and
Okay,
then we can get back into our rotation.
okay,
I just had the stitches removed from my left hand yesterday, so I'm still on the mend, but
good,
yeah, I have still uh been making some progress, and so I definitely want to share that with you.
good.
Can you hear my background noise?
No,
Okay, good.
is there something going on that's exciting?
Not a thing going on that is exciting, but my husband's in the basement in his feelings
Oh,
playing this music loud so I can hear it, but I have my
oh,
headphones on, so I was hoping that that would help to.
yeah, no, I can't hear it.
Okay, very good. Because I didn't want to get it in the recordings.
Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about it.
Okay.
But, background music isn't a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but I'm not leading the charge today, and I don't know. He's downstairs right now playing his country music, so
Oh,
and singing loudly. So, I guess people have to decompress in their own ways. And so
yeah, well, if it works for him, why not?
we're in a smaller space, so I'm just trying to be patient.
That's a good thing. Well, I hope Tracy's going to be along soon. I am not hearing you now. You are muted.
Sorry, I am muted. I haven't, I don't have a text from her, but can you please just make sure that she has the link to join? Because that's been the problem the last few weeks is that it's been tough.
Right.
So if you could just make sure she has that so she can jump on with us, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, that's the registration link. Um, okay, let me see. Oh, that's a problem. With this thing, you have to register. Um, and there's not, 'cause, 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 ' Well, I'll send her the registration link. Yeah, I should have sent that out to her earlier today. It's been one of those days. Having problems with my car, and I
Oh
have
no.
and I have to, well, it's, I kept the check engine light kept coming on, and I kept getting it reset and it would come back on. And I spent most of the day today in the garage with the guy trying to figure out what the problem was. And it turns out it's the sensor.
Uh-huh.
But now he's got to work out how to get the sensor, fix the sensor, because
Oh.
there's a wire that's broken. And I have to have the e-check done before the end of the month. So I'm getting a little anxious about that. I don't know. Those things just sort of all happen at the same time, you know?
Yeah, like they say, when it rains, it pours, right?
Indeed. So I didn't see anything from her in my email.
No, I didn't see anything either. And that's why I say I always like go in and check my email before, we get started just to see if
Right.
I'm missing anything. And that's how I saw the manager thing. So I took care of that before
Yeah.
logging on. Yeah. So,
Well, usually the day of the thing, I just resend the panelists, but with a meeting, you don't have a panelist.
oh, gotcha.
You
Yeah.
know,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I don't like meetings. They're so difficult to manage. Um, we don't get any attendance reports, so we don't really get any credit.
I thought
And
we still got credit regardless.
no,
Oh,
we
wait,
don't.
Tracy, just text me. Am I in the wrong place?
Yeah, she is. Tell her I sent her the registration link. She's going to have to register and then wait for the confirmation. So she gets the join link. Unless I can go into, maybe I can go into Engage and get the right link. Let me see.
Okay, I'm texting her. She's texting me back.
Tell her I apologize that I didn't think about it today.
Hello, W Lindsay. Am I saying that right, Lindsay? Oh, she says she's
That is correct.
Oh, very good. How are you?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. We are um, sh- we are still waiting for folks to join, so we're going to give it about 5 minutes. But we definitely respect your time. But you got 5 minutes to kind of, get your beverage, your snacks, whatever you need, and then we will get underway in 5. Okay.
Oh, that's no problem.
Uh,
I'm all the way on the East Coast, so
oh,
it's
are
like
you? Where are you
it's like
joining us
7 here.
from? Yeah,
Virginia.
Virginia. Wow. Okay. And how did you hear about our webinar all the way here in Cleveland?
The what's the name website?
The national
Uh,
website. Okay. Very
yeah.
good. Well, we are so excited to have you. Thank you so much. It's 7 o'clock for us as well, um, here. So no difference there. It's just that
Okay.
right at 7, what happens is folks start joining, and so we like to
Oh,
just
okay.
give it a few seconds to let folks get in, especially if they're having trouble with the link. You see what I'm saying? So here we are.
Oh, I got it. I thought I heard you say 5, and I was like, what?
No,
Wait a
I said
minute.
we're in 5 minutes. I meant 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So we're
Got it. Got
we're
it. Got
gonna
it.
get
Okay.
started in 5 minutes. Yep. Hi,
I,
Doug.
I sent
Hi,
Tracy
Tracy.
the join link. Is she in?
Yes, she is here.
Okay, good.
I had to register 6 times to get on.
Oh, I just went back into
So I
engage.
was like, I was in a different room for the last 12 minutes. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm like, that's why I was like, am I here? Like, I'm in the wrong place, I think.
I did finally send you the join link. I went into engage and found it, but I think you already got.
I was already inside, but then it made me register again. So if you have 6 registrations from me, it's just me. Hi.
hi, Barb. Hi, Denise.
I think you have a split personality.
Right. You're like, what is wrong?
Hi, Soft Skills 4.
Hi. Yeah.
I'm gonna.
All right, fantastic. Well, the gang's all here. We are still waiting for just a few more folks to come in. And so we are going to get started at 7:05. So you have 4 minutes to just be able to, like I said, grab a beverage, your snacks, make one last trip to the Tinkletorium if need be. And then Tracy is going to pilot us through this evening. I'm going to sit back as the co-pilot. So I will be monitoring the chat if you have questions or comments in the chat. But the way that this meeting is set up, you also have the ability to unmute yourself and ask your questions or make comments in real time.
Yay.
Right. So 3 minutes and we will get started.
Are you able to see my screen? Wonderful.
My favorite color. Okay, good. Let's see, you claim to be opposites, right? Yes. We met on our.
So, Karen, is there a way that we can mute everybody and just unmute them as you bring them on?
Talking ever since. It's been spooky ever since. I think we can't top that, John. Sometimes we just gotta know when to pull. Good luck to you all. Grab those devices. We're gonna do another toss up. This is worth $2,000.
And for some reason, I'm not able to remove this. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So we're going to give everybody another minute. If everyone can put in the chat where you're joining us from tonight, as you're coming on, put in the chat where you're joining us from tonight. So Barb is from Vermilion. Thank you, Barb. Everyone else must just be living remotely, right? I'm just going to take it as we're like digital nomads. We're roaming around. So welcome to our soft skills presentation 4. This is number 4. And this is for SCORE Cleveland. And the mission and values and vision for SCORE is to foster vibrant small business communities through mentoring and education. At SCORE, we aim to give every person the support they need to thrive as a small business owner. Small business drives our national economy through business formation, job creation, and wealth building. Small business, say that fast. Small businesses are critical to vibrant communities in our society, and your volunteers give freely of their time, energy, and knowledge to help others. That is why Karen and I are here. We both have a personal mission that aligns very much with SCORE, which is to help change the face of entrepreneurship and business owners. So SCORE has the largest network of free volunteer small business mentors in the nation. No matter what stage of your business, you are able to get a mentor and easily request a mentor to help you start, grow, or transition your business. So no matter what level, we are available. Oh, good. So we have more people coming in from, let's see, we have New Jersey, Iowa, Twinsburg, yay, and some digital nomads. We got everybody tonight. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. So SCORE is for everyone, no matter what stage. So no matter what you have going on in your business, know that there is, like, even if you're just getting started. So that's really important that we share. Then tonight is soft skills. I don't know why that says 3. It should actually be 4, but so this is soft skills 4, but this is part 1 of how to empower your team to be solution oriented. Now, if you're a team of 1, you're still going to empower yourself. So I don't want you to think for 1 second that you're not in the right place. You are in the right place, because the hardest person you're ever going to lead, my friend, is you. So if we can get that down, woohoo, everyone else is easy. So that we're going to start out of the gate with the win right there. So I just want you to know that right out of the gate. So the agenda for tonight is all about solving problems at the source, how to empower your team to be solution oriented. We're going to dive into practical strategies to foster a culture of problem solving. And now this is going to build on the last 3 weeks of stuff that we've gone through when it comes to leadership and your why. This is just another layer. So if you were with us, amazing. If not, it's all good. You can start from where you are, or you can go back and watch the replay after if it inspires you. But there are no wrong turns here. So if you're multitasking, I want you to come back to me for a minute and know that you are in the right place, and we're going to start from where you are. We're going to dive into key principles of solution-oriented thinking and communication and valuable insights that will empower your team to contribute their best ideas and solutions. So I want you to know that we're here to welcome you. This is going to be a good evening of fun. Karen's going to be working the chat, and this is an interactive. So this masterclass is not just like where I'm going to spew a bunch of information to you, because I don't find that fun. So this is interactive learning. So what you put into it, you will get out. I want you to know that we're going to talk about some of the pain points and kind of dig a little deep. So consider it a loving kick in the pants sometimes, and know that we have a great respect for your investment of time, and we do not take that lightly. So we're going to give you as much information as possible in the short amount of time. And then we have a part 2 to this session next week, which we'll dive in even deeper. So before we get started, I'm just curious if you can help me out with some of my curious questions. How many of you are business owners? Can you put that in the chat for me? How many of you are business owners? Put that in the chat. And then my next question is, how many of you want to be successful? Because generally speaking, if you're in business, you want to be successful. So someone said not yet. Okay, perfect. So this is wonderful. We have people just getting into business. We have people not yet. They're thinking about it. You are all in the right place. Right. Failure is not an option. Loving this. Okay. So now everybody said yes to being successful, whether they were in business already or just getting started. And this is a fact that I want you to kind of look around the room at the chat. So according to the Small Business Association, 85% of business owners will close doors before their 10th anniversary. So the fact that you're here already puts you in the 15% that are in 10 years going to look around and say, woo, I'm making it. So I want you to celebrate that out of the gate. Mine and Karen's commitment to you tonight is that we're going to invoke curiosity about running your business. Maybe a little different. Just invoke a little bit of curiosity. We are going to bring you value in the area of communication. And we want to sprinkle on a little dough. If you're making a recipe, we want to sprinkle on a little bit of thinking different about problems, right? Like so often we just want to resist problems, but what if we can just invoke some curiosity, communicate through things, and think a little different about problems? So that is our commitment to you tonight. This is my favorite quote at all when delivering this content. And would you say that at this stage of life, even on a global level, are you experiencing change? Would you say yes? So if you would say yes to experiencing change, can you put yes in the chat for me? Sometimes I'm like, can I get a yes, yes? Experiencing change. So if you're experiencing change, this quote always gives me like those full body tingles. In times of change, learners inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. Now, I'm going to share something that I remember a lot of years ago where I didn't really think I was ever going to have to learn how to turn on a computer. That didn't seem for me. So we all go through different stages, and know that even if you've been stuck in this place of trying to resist things, you can turn it around and you can change. And we want this to look at, is it possible that this could be like the GPS for your business? Like when you start applying some of these solution-oriented questions and things that invoke curiosity, is it possible that this could be the new GPS for your business? Because not that long ago, would you ever have believed that a satellite will tell you exactly where to go? Maybe not. It's not been that long that we've been doing that. So that I just always think is a really good reminder. So some of the key principles for solution-oriented mindset. Number one, be present. So this starts with you tonight. Be present. Turn off outside distractions. Close all the additional open tabs on your computer. Tell whoever's bothering you at home or at the office that this is your time to learn for you. So sometimes we just have to sometimes I will tell my kids, mom's in a timeout. Like that means like I'm live and recording, right? If it's at home, if it's the office, I'm like, okay, this is happening for me. So whatever you have to do, be present. And then we're going to start thinking about solution-oriented mindset. And we're going to dive into one of my favorite little little reminders to everything, which is S plus B equals R. It's a little equation. I'm going to share with you exactly what it means on the next slide. But for a minute, think about what S plus B equals R could possibly mean. And then we're going to think about listening to solve problems, how to be the real nice, which I always say is actually telling the truth instead of what we think people want to hear. We're gonna look for, where does the triple win exist? Where does the business win? You as the owner in the business win, your team and the clients. When you get the triple win, that is when innovation and creativity really happens. So we're going to encourage that. So any guesses? Anyone want to take a guess before I flip to the next slide? What S plus B equals R could possibly mean? All right. It's okay. So in everything in life, this is the formula that I hope you take it with you. You can use it forever. And if we've done nothing else tonight, I hope this changes your life forever. It's a big thing. So S is situation, B is behavior, and together those will always equal your result. So this is why in times of great change, even when there's problems, here's the situation. It's happening globally for everyone, whether it's globally in your business, global in your home, or global across the world. It's happening. Here's the situation. What behavior we attach is actually what creates the result. So I'm going to repeat that. The behavior we attach. This is why one person will be complaining that somebody cut them off on the way to work, while another is like, whoa, they must be in a hurry. So glad I got out of the way quickly and didn't get sideswiped, right? It's all the behavior. What you attach to it is what gives it meaning. And that's what actually creates your results. You could take two people having brain surgery, pretty serious, right? Maybe not. Maybe one person says, oh, hey, they're just going to go in with the tweezer and remove this. It's not a big deal. The other one is freaking out that it's brain surgery. So the idea is the situation globally affects everyone, but the behavior you attach is always going to equal your results. So this is a good baseline for both yourself for personal development and growth, and how you're going to approach bringing all of this to your team. So I wanted to make sure out of the gate, you learn something new. Hopefully that's new for you and you can use this formula forever. And now I want you to look at this. For our time together tonight, completely fire me as your speaker. I'm fired. And just hire me as your personal business growth consultant just for tonight. Okay. So my name is Tracy Watts-Serino, and this is Karen. Karen is my partner and will be working the chat for you. And a little bit about, I'll go in a little bit about myself and then we'll go into Karen. So you might be wondering, okay, so why? I'm a 5-time best-selling author, speaker, and business growth strategist. I have a podcast that is ranked in the top 5% called Beyond Common Business Secrets. And I'm a former award-winning business owner in the beauty and cosmetic industry and the creator of the Beyond Common Essentials and different master classes. So I create programs to help business owners grow. So the alignment for me to be here at SCORE is an absolute blessing and gift because we're speaking the same language. Karen, do you want to go into your stuff? I just added a little bit about your legacy builders, coaching and consulting, and your vast experience of dealing with entrepreneurs at every level. Karen, would you like to say a few words, my beautiful friend?
No, actually, this is your night. So yeah, they'll get my information in the slides and be able to share. And I thank you for including that information and adding it. But I want to keep this train rolling so that we can get to the good stuff. But thank you.
Thank you. So, problem solving. How many of you can put it in the chat, have ever had a problem? Have you ever had a problem of any kind? Anyone have a problem? I know I have. So I want you to think about how we solve problems at the source so they're not growing bigger and bigger. So yes, like we've had problems. So that's semi-funny, but here's the thing. When we look at what's stuck or not working, this is often when we're like playing small and, we're like, oh, well, I've tried it this way, but this lock won't open and this is happening and that's happening. It's really interesting that we're doing this workshop tonight because I have a fun story for you. So, when we think about just being curious about what do the best in every industry have in common? What do the absolute best have in common? And this could be like, the Super Bowl was a few weeks ago. I know my son said that the basketball something, all-star stuff was the other day. There's business awards. There are the Nobel Prize. There's what do the best in every industry have in common? If you can put that in a chat, that would be wonderful. Oh, my slides are all getting crazy over here. It's layers of technology as we're streaming. Something is wacky. So all of the different businesses have in common is that they look at how to be the best, right? How to be the best, how to win this award, that. The way that they do that is by effective decision making. So I'm really trying to clean up the slide for you. I have no idea why it literally moved. Everything moved over. So I hope you can see that. But the decision making is all about how do we gather information and make it a little bit better. It's these tiny little refinement rather than this big leap, right? We don't go from step 1 down here all the way to 7. We do step by step, just a little bit of gathering, a little bit more. And it's interesting. The story I have for you is I'm gonna switch back to this slide. See this lock right here? Yesterday for my son's birthday, we did one of those escape rooms. That's what him and his friend wanted to do. They didn't have school. And we had all the right numbers. And it wasn't until we put them in the right order that we were able to get out of that room and escape the creepy alien that was in there. And the thing is that I'm like, this is exactly what I teach in business all the time. So it was really this moment for me of like, this is so true in everything and everywhere that we go. It was like we had all the right numbers. We had all 5 numbers, but we had them in the wrong order. And it wasn't until we put them in the right order that everything unlocked. And this is the same thing as looking at problem solving, like at the source, like what it looks like in action. If only these slides were like not reformatting right before my eyes right now. I've never had that problem before. So here's the thing. As we go through this, we want to get creative, right? Because our first level is going to be here. We recognize that we have a problem. And this is where teaching our teams to understand that it's inevitable that we're going to have problems. And we have to teach them how to have the mental flex muscles of figuring it out so they're not always bringing it to you. So this is where creative problem solving is the process of redefining problems in a way that creates opportunities so that we're constantly coming up with new innovative responses and solutions. Like if you look at most businesses in history, it's like what made them the best, right? Everyone's trying to be the best in their industry. What made them the best is usually a problem that customers complained about or staff complained about. And as they started brainstorming creative solutions, that's what turns into like the best thing, right? Oh, it happened. I always think of, I remember days way back when I would go to New York City and be teaching that I got stuck a couple of times where the taxi cabs were doing their shift change at 3:30. And I would freak out and go, oh my goodness, I have to get to the airport. And there wasn't time to get on the subway. But I didn't think of Uber. Somebody else did. Like, do you know what I mean? So I had that moment of, oh, right. So in those moments of, oh, here's a pain or struggle or a problem, what do we think of instead? So one of my favorite quotes is from Albert Einstein. He always says, if you were given 1 hour to save the planet, he says he would spend 55 minutes defining the problem and only 5 minutes resolving it. So it's the more clear we are, and it just goes back to the GPS and the lock and everything, the more clear we are on defining what the problem is, the less time it's going to take for us to get to the solution. But we often will just say, oh, that's a problem, and just run after, oh, going all crazy. Or no, maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe, like, hopefully you're with me on that. The thing is that when we clearly define it, we are so much more likely to have a resolution. So how does that resonate? Will you let me know in the chat? How does that resonate?
And Tracy, if I can just, while folks are preparing and answering in the chat,
Yeah.
I think that that is a great point that you make. And here's the thing, part of why we spend so much time in defining the problem is because oftentimes what happens is we see symptoms of the problem, right? And we're trying to address symptoms of the problem as opposed to really getting to the problem. So we have to talk through some of that, because if we get down to the core of the problem, we don't have to spend as much time, and some of the symptoms that we are trying to address and throw band-aids on, right, will be resolved because we've spent that time really defining it, looking at it, dissecting it, and coming at it from different angles. So I just wanted to add that.
I love that, Karen. Thank you. That's wonderful. And it's so true, right? It's so true that when we look at all the symptoms or the collection of symptoms that a team can gather, we have to go a layer deeper, or even layers deeper, like the peeling of an onion. We have to get deep enough that we're actually clear on defining the actual problem. To simplify that process, this is one of my favorite, this is like where I like to start, which is the 4 stages. And this is define the problem. Now, this can come in layers, but you're better off making a decision of at least saying, okay, this is possibly the problem. And then brainstorming alternatives. When you're in this brainstorming phase, you sometimes will realize that, oh, wait, that's not the problem. What we were defining as the problem is exactly what Karen said, the symptom. So just know that, like, you don't have to wait days and days, like, to or go meditate on a mountain to figure out what the problem is. You can start initiating action, and then some of these creative brainstorms will help you get there quicker. And then you're in the position to do, which is step 3, make a decision, and then you implement the solution. And here's the thing, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is one thing. And if it turns out to not be correct, then you're going to think of the next thing. But the more in motion we are as a team and as a company of being solution oriented, we set that in motion, so that becomes the culture, right? Like, we're continuously, this is why this is layered on, right? Have you ever been around somebody that never had anything to say but the problems? Like, instead of being so annoyed with that person, we're like, okay, now we start trying to talk to them through with like, how can that, if they are that type of thinker, let's have them go the next step and actually start offering up solutions, right? Because sometimes those people that can clearly define a problem are good to have around, but if they're only making more symptoms, then we got to look deeper, right? So if you can just ask yourself this question, and this is a really good one to screenshot because you might want to journal about this. And it's like, what can you improve when it comes to being solution oriented? Like, how do we start creating this solution oriented thinking? Because it has to first start with you, right? Has to first start with you and then your leadership team and then everyone else on the team. Now, if it's just you, then okay, this is the hardest one. Then, as you grow, but what is the problem? What are the causes of the problem? See, sometimes when you're looking at causes, that will help you really define and remove some of those symptoms that are just bubbling up. And then you ask, like, what are the possible solutions? And I like to have fun with this. I will do for depending on how you learn best, like everybody has different layers of learning. But for me, and the way I like to teach this is literally sketch pad, whiteboard, if you have the team with you, and write it out because you can be really funny and say, what are the possible solutions? You can come up with some of the craziest things because it allows you to expand your thought process. And then we come up with the best possible solution. So for your home play today, I want all of you to think about, like, what's the biggest problem that you're having in your business and start applying these 4 questions. And next week, when we are in phase 2, we're gonna pick the problem and all help each other. We're gonna, like, everyone's gonna put in the chat, we're gonna pick a problem and really run through it. But I want you to start playing with this. Like, if you're someone that's like, oh, all I'm doing is putting out fires every day there's fires I'm putting out, then start using this technique daily to start working your way through them. And this is how you're going to be generating innovative solutions. So this could even be, I'll go back to this if you want to, and you guys will get the slides, but if you want to just screenshot that, that's just a good thing to start having your team, like, start doing this with you, because you'll find that you can be using this every day, all the time, until it becomes like second nature. So it first starts with you. And I always am a firm believer in taking it to the notepad, keeping it simple. And then once your team sees, like, okay, well, yeah, we had this one little problem over here, then they're going to be empowered to say, oh, you know what? Our client Sally said that there was a problem with what was delivered. And instead of just saying, oh, I'll give you the message, I asked some questions like, well, what condition did it arrive in? Can you tell me more about what it looked like? I started asking Sally questions. And you know what? In just 15 short minutes, I solved the problem for her right on the phone. So now, as a team member, I am bringing you a whole different story. Then here's another thing at the end of your big, busy day that you have to solve, right? So when you start teaching and creating this type of environment, you're going to continue to delegate more responsibility and fostering this type of solution-oriented mindset that just, it becomes like lives and breathes throughout your organization. So how does that sound as opposed to everyone bringing you problems? What do you think? Can I get a yes? Yes. We'd much rather have someone say, hey, I solved the problem in just 15 minutes for that client. So let's see if this will work tonight, because we don't always have the best luck with these. Oh, I guess it's not working. So, okay. We found that for whatever reason. So this is on here, and it is a short TED Talk that's all about building a tower. So you can go watch it at any time. But I love this case study because it talks through like real world experiences of like successful problem solving. So there's an example that you give to your team about building a tower, and then it teaches people teamwork to fix the problem at the source. And anytime that you go and watch that, you'll see like it's just a really interesting thing that when you bring people together, everyone's got different ideas of how you build the base and how you solve a problem. So when you think of different case studies, what's the first thing that comes to mind for everyone when it comes to problem solving? Does anyone have a specific problem solving framework that they use in their business? Like what comes to mind when it comes to problem solving? If you can put that in the chat. Let's see. 5 why analysis. Oh, I love that one. Yes, 5 why analysis. Karen, do you have anything to add about what comes, like what frameworks you like to use for problem solving?
I don't have any specifics that come to mind. I think that I do a lot of situational things, and I like to follow kind of a systems thinking model, I guess, if that's systems thinking is a thing, right? And
Yeah.
so it really takes a deeper dive. It takes all of your you kind of map it out along the way, right? So here are the symptoms that we are experiencing, and kind of looking at what those different things are happening. So when this happens, these are the consequences, kind of a thing. And being able to kind of work it backwards to see if we could find out through looking at the symptoms where everything is kind of beginning, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it absolutely does. And someone put in the chat, it's the root cause, which is exactly it. We're always going a layer deeper, getting to the root, right? Because there are many symptoms, many challenges that come up, but we're always wanting to go deeper and deeper. And this is not always the part that your team's going to see from the beginning. But when you foster this solution-oriented thinking, this is where, it's the question of is problem solving innate or learned? Which would you say? Put that in the chat. Which one? It's like when you look at this, the number of people that this is a learned behavior. It's typically not something we were born with. This is typically comes up, like Karen said, situational. And then we build confidence in our skill set to go deeper and deeper on the root cause of things. So this is not something that most people are born with, but this is a way to really first teach ourselves and then teach our teams. So some of the barriers that we run into when it comes to problem solving are just, there's a whole gamut of things, but this is a nice chart that just puts it in little tiny, tiny buckets, but just know that it could be ever expansive because we're often getting lots of cognitive limitations. It could be that we were raised to not believe that we were allowed to have a voice. So sometimes you have to like really go deeper than you expected. Sometimes there's emotional stress that's happening in someone's personal life, and that's affecting how they're going to apply this level of problem solving and resilience. There's like they don't feel safe yet, or think that there's trust enough built that you would trust their solution. So there's lots of cognitive barriers that we have to work through when it comes to setting the culture. So just know that this is something that you set the tone and you hold the standard, but we can't force people. It's still like, right, it's their choice. And then you decide if that's the type of people that you're going to keep on your team, or if you're going to continuously bringing people into the mix that want to keep moving forward. Oh yeah, I love the 6 thinking hats. Yeah. So that's the thing. oftentimes I have always found in my experience that this is the part where you really get to know your team really well. And they always really appreciate it, of realizing, like, because it helps them grow, not just at work, but it'll help in them grow in their personal life. And that is really rewarding when something that you put in place in business becomes part of them really owning who they are and becoming better in all areas. I don't know, that really makes my heart shine. I love when it works that way, but this can get a little, you gotta make sure that you're having really genuine conversations and that you really value your team as the people that they are, not just like, oh, it's revenue, right? Like when we take that approach, it builds trust and fosters this mindset that you're going to work together on finding the solutions. So the three C's of problem solving. So when we're thinking about defining that problem, the more we can clarify to clearly define and identify the decision to be made, or like this is still going back to when we continually clarify and define that problem, it's going to get better and better. I like this one because it dives into making it simple, like 3 C's, like here's the 3 C's. It's clarify, consider, and choose. So when we consider all these different possibilities, and that's why sometimes it's like hilarious. Like, I'll write, okay, well, we could sell everything and move to a deserted island. We could, like, you can start considering tons of crazy options. Well, we can make everything green that we're selling. What I'm being ridiculous for the reason that when you start listing these things in consideration, it will make people laugh, loosen up. And then we get this expansive level of thinking instead of it being like, oh, I have to, like a heavy, serious problem, right? Even when it is a bigger problem, when we take this approach to invoke curiosity and consider all of this, it makes choosing the best choice much easier. How does that sound? Does that sound like more fun than, oh, I have a problem, I have to solve it now? Like, oh, I have a headache. So think of it in those terms, and it'll really help with the way that you work through everything. It's like just going down to the 3 C's makes it much easier. And then on here, we have things like critical thinking, evaluating details, communication, ability to act on solutions, the decisiveness. Now, one of the major things that happens is if we're fostering a bunch of people to be on the same page, like we're bringing our team together, we want them to be on the same page, we've got to get really clear on communication. And then everybody has to know the target, right? Because this is only a problem if the target is clear for everybody. If nobody knows the target, then they're not even going to notice that there is a problem early enough. And it could be this blazing fire by the time it gets to you, right? So this is like where that get everyone on the same page, clear communication, and making sure everyone knows the target. This is how you as a person and then your company becomes a living, breathing vision, like your vision, mission, and values, because these are not just things we post on the wall. They need to see them in action. This isn't just where you do a workshop and you write these all down on paper and then stick them in a drawer and no one ever talks about your vision or mission and values again. You got to get everyone on the same page. And when that happens, the number one thing that I see most business owners struggling with is the decision piece, the decision to take action. So know that I mean this with love, but not making a decision is still a decision and it speaks volumes to your team. Okay. So when you start approaching this, it's like, just make a bunch of decisions. Nothing's going to blow up. It's not a bomb, right? It's not a bomb. We are just going to figure it out as we go. But the more you make decisions and take on the idea again. I always like repeat this one. It when you look at what Albert Einstein says, you spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem, but then the last 5 minutes, you're going to have that solution. That just make sure you make the decision and go with the solution, right? That's how we like put it all together. Because if it's just like all these problems floating, then that's going to start to be all everyone thinks about. But we want to bring it to the forefront of, okay, now from a leadership standpoint, now you're making decisions and you're getting creative and you're problem solving. How does that sound? How does that sound as we all put it all together? Yes. Karen put in the chat, communication is the skill set that needs to be honed. This is like the number one thing that's never set it and forget it. We're always getting better and growing in the area of communication. And that is always going to improve everything we do in our businesses. So
And yeah, and
go
Tracy,
ahead, Karen.
if I could
Yeah.
also just make one other comment, because with all the things that you're talking about, it also comes along with your ability as a leader to feel okay in allowing your staff and empowering your staff to be able to not only, you set that expectation. Listen, I know that, problems will arise. When you bring a problem to me, let's have also a solution, or two or three different ways you think we could approach that. And then that gives us a place to start talking from. It gives us a place to start having some real communication, because just bringing all the problems definitely does not get us to that solution. You know what I mean? But if you tell people in advance, I want to know what's going on. I want to know what problems we're experiencing, but also I want to hear from you, how are some ways you think we can solve these problems? And some of the solutions might be terrific. Others may need some tweaking and tuning, but if everybody is coming with their idea about how that problem could be solved, that already cuts the time in half, really, to solution, right? Because if I only bring you the problem and now we have to start brainstorming solutions together, well, now that takes even longer. So, you want to make sure that you're doing that and that you're giving your team the autonomy to be able to, you know, kind of try some things too, or be able to come and say, you know what, this is what we've been experiencing. I've tried this, I've tried that. It's still not working. So those are two things that, be able to bring that data to you so that you can say, okay, you tried that and what happened? Well, maybe if we do these other things with that, or kind of tweak it in this way, you're on your way to solving problems right there. So I just
Yeah.
wanted,
I love
you
that.
to think bigger. You're not the only one that has to come up with all of the solutions. And oftentimes as leaders, we don't listen to those folks that are on the front line. We make decisions from our purview, but we're not working with those things every day. We're not in front of or using those tools or whatever it is that we may be doing. We're not on the front line. And we really want to have our frontline folks understand that their voice and experience matters. And when we are solving these problems, we want them at the table.
Karen, it's funny that you brought that up because I remember years and years ago in one of my businesses, I always had this sort of rule that I always wanted to hear what everybody had to say, like if there was a problem, bring it. But if you were going to bring problems, everyone knew they had to have at least 2 solutions. Because when I had it at 3, it was too hard and no one was like, then they weren't telling me anything. And I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me? They're like, because I couldn't think of the third solution. So it became another layer of so when I put it in place that this is to bring solutions, is to get your brain thinking of like, okay, if you were in charge, here's a magic wand. If you were in charge and you can make it all go, what would you do? When we changed it to be that, then everyone was excited because then they knew out of the gate that it was about being heard, right? So it eliminated just mindless complaining about nothing and just things that people wanted to complain about. But they weren't looking for solutions. And it really brought us to figuring out what the real solutions are, because, okay, if everything was exactly as you wanted to be, what would you do? And that really was very helpful. Because for a minute I'm like, how come no one's telling me any of the problems anymore? It was because they were like, 3 was too hard. So when I said, well, no, it's okay. You're not gonna solve it on your own. I am just gonna ask you what you would do, and we're going to together go deeper. That seemed to be the sweet spot for us. And so I've taken that approach to every business I've had since, and it seems to work the best in that way. So what do we know about solutions? So put in the chat for me what we know about solutions now. Do you feel like you know more about being solution minded and not being stuck in problems? Will you put in the chat what we know about solutions? So here are some outcomes that happen when we start fostering this, right? These are all the things that we want. Like, the team comes together with common goals. We're working on our personal and professional development. There's open communication. There's mutual accountability, right? Like, even as the business owner, I'll say, hey, if I'm out of line with any of our values, like, I can be fired too. So here's the thing, like, think about it through that lens. It's continuous improvement. It's problem solving. It's decision making. It's being in alignment, right? Yes, the collaborative approach. That is key. Yes, and having empathy. I love all of those. I need to add that. I need to add empathy to this slide. Thank you for saying that. So that's a big one. And then if you think about what, like, this always makes me giggle because, right, I just said I can be fired too. And Steve Jobs was fired at one point from his own company, and then they brought him back. So the thing is, it doesn't make, I always love this one. I have been a seeker of people smarter than me since I came out of the womb. I'm just always looking for people that want to talk about anything to expand. So it doesn't make sense to hire smart people and then tell them what to do. You always want to think about hiring smart people so they can tell you what to do, because there's parts in your business that other people are going to be better at and smarter at. So if you want to dive deeper into this, I just grabbed this off of this is just like a mind tool that helps you with assessing your problem solving. I have no idea who it's with affiliation, but I thought it really fit with what we were talking about tonight. So if you want to grab that link, go ahead, because it just is kind of talking about hiring and who you need and free tools to get you there. But yeah, I just found those in my research. So when we're tying this together from last week, when we talked about, or 2 weeks ago, when we talked about culture and problem, so why problem solving is important for leaders and your overall culture is because this is going to be like, the more you are flexible and curious and show that you're going to be persistent, you're going to act with intelligence, empathy, and really show employees how to embody the values of your company. This is how you're going to contribute to your organizational culture, much bigger and better than anything you write down, much better than anything that you say. They need to see this. It's almost just like children. You can tell them all the time not to put their hand on the stove, right? Don't touch that. It's hot. It's hot. When they put their hand on the stove, they learned it. I'm not doing that again. So the more that you demonstrate communication, that you are creative and in your pursuit of problem solving, and you show empathy, you act with intelligence, you treat people with respect, value their ideas, and foster this open communication, they're going to know it rather than you just saying that. So this is why it's so important. It's like the building block, because we can say it all day, but until we demonstrate it and we're living and breathing it, that is how it gets passed to our teams. So does anyone have any questions as we move? I just have a few slides before we start wrapping things up, but I want to check in to see if anyone have questions. Karen, do you have anything to add? You're good? Okay. Any questions? Let me check the chat. Yes.
Nothing in the chat so far.
I love empathy and customer service. Yes, we always have to walk with people. So this is this is the number one thing to think about when it comes to how you're going to set this up. What you permit, you promote. So if we permit whining and complaining and do nothing with that, then you're going to get more whining and complaining. If you permit problem solving, really open communication, and helping people pull this information out of them, especially the people at the source. I read a book years and years ago. I think it was Susan Scott, Critical Conversations, and she talks about a beach ball. A beach ball is like, okay, if you're living in the red stripe on the beach ball, you can't solve problems from the top circle, right? Which is like the leadership. So you want to, if it's a problem over here in the blue, you need to talk to the people that are in the blue zone of your business, right? And that's from every single angle of the beach ball. Where are the people that have the most information? And then apply what you permit, you promote. So think about it in that, because sometimes it's like, oh, I don't want to, seems like a big to do. I don't want to do this right now. I'm tired or whatever. Just, I always have this little in my brain, what you permit, you promote. I actually had a team member that worked for me years and years ago that now owns her own business. And I ran into her at the grocery store and she said, Trace, what you permit, you promote. She says it now to her team. So this is that thing that stays with you, right? It's like you want to have, you want to know that how this is going to affect your culture. So the problem solving affects culture because of all of these reasons. So we're going to teach the problem solving skills through our social interactions. We're going to live and breathe it. We're going to define and teach our core values on a continuous basis, right? Because when you sort of foster this desire to learn, within your organization, then everyone gets excited about, hey, we solved this right away. Yeah, fierce conversation, Susan Scott. Yep, that was it. That's exactly it. I'm glad I remembered it because that was a really good book. I think I took a workshop with her too, which was amazing. So this overall is going to really affect your culture overall. And when that happens, then your bottom line is affected in a positive way. So it's a win-win. It's that triple win that we're talking about. So does anyone have any questions or things about problem solving affecting your culture? As we wrap things up? No?
I'm just going to make one comment.
Yeah,
It is very important that as leaders, we really figure out a good system that works within our organization to address problems. Because one thing we know for certain is that problems are going to arise, right? And so we need to proactively think about how we are going to approach problems, how we are going to incorporate the feedback and advice from our team and from our customers. And we want to make sure also that we're documenting things along the way, right? Really writing down what the issues are, what the experience is, kind of, what are some of the consequences, and kind of keeping a roadmap of what we tried, and so that, because you may have to go back and look at that and say, well, this part of it worked, but this part didn't, and be able to kind of map that together, and then be able to communicate all of it very, very clearly, not just to our staff and the folks that work for us, but the folks that work with us and the folks that we are working for. So, we talk about problem solving as though it should be like magic, like we should already know that, like duh, like who doesn't? But this is a skill that
It
we
is a skill.
really have to work on honing, and we have to find ways to be able to do it within our business, within our organization, in a way that is effective and efficient, that we're not going to take all day, every day, putting out fires, but, really working on having solution oriented folks in our camp so that we can get things done and resolved quickly.
I love that. Very, very true. So I would love to know what your biggest takeaways are from tonight. If you can put that in the chat. What's been the biggest takeaway? And it doesn't count if you're just thinking about your takeaway. You have to put it in the chat. See, I knew you might try to I put actions speak louder than words intentionally on this slide.
Love that, Denise. Yes, problem solving does affect your culture. Absolutely right.
I love that.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. Good job, Denise. Yes. So, what will you try first? And maybe that's a better question to ask. Like, what will you try first? But you can put that in the chat. So, we're going to recap and talk about our next steps. So, developing ways to improve your problem solving skills. I gave you 3 different frameworks that you can use and apply. Ask questions and listen to your employees, your team. And then next week, we're going to be here on Monday, which is going to be our final session, which is, I don't know why this says 4, it should say 5, of the Leadership Soft Skills series. So your next step is think about what tools you want to use to enhance your problem solving skills. Because like Karen said, this is not magic. This is a skill set that you need to hone and develop. And over time, the muscle itself will get stronger, but it doesn't happen by magic. I like that. This is how you're going to create a more proactive and innovative work environment. This is also when that starts to happen, you kind of create the energy then where other people want to work there. So your recruiting gets a lot easier when you're known for this type of stuff. So next week, we're diving into problem solving at the source. This is going to be part 2, and we're going to take some actual problems. So I want you to use the techniques that we went over this week, play with them a bit this week, and then bring some problems that we get to solve. Karen and I love to do this. We're going to have a lot of fun brainstorming and diving deeper on the problem solving next week. So that's going to be super fun. So bring the problems that are going on in your business, like real life ones. We can't promise that we'll solve everything, but we're going to help you. We're going to help you get curious and start fostering some different communication. So I just want to share a few final things about SCORE, that SCORE is here for you. I know this replay will be up probably in the next 24 to 48 hours if you want to go back, and the slides will be emailed to you. There's lots of opportunity for mentoring, and just our local chapter, Cleveland SCORE, has started 394 new businesses, which I think is amazing. So those of you that answered in the beginning that you are just getting started, reach out, get a mentor if you don't have one. Here's the code of ethics and the priorities. And all the services are free because they're sponsored and work in conjunction with the Small Business Association. Let us know if you have any questions. And
there's one in the chat where W. Lindsay said that you touched on it, but danced around it, and it was about getting the right people to work with.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think that's kind of a question. And it is something that we've talked about over the course of this series. But, when you talk about getting the right person, the right people to work with and to work um, in harmony with you within your organization, it starts at the core, right? In the culture that you are trying to develop. So you have to be clear on the culture that you want present in your organization. And then it's about intentionally hiring people that fit and that their values and their thoughts are in alignment, you know, um, with that. But that's a whole series in and of itself. And that's also the kind of work that I do, is really talking about and working with folks on building teams, on intentional hiring, on all those kinds of things, because it is a process.
Yeah.
And so we have a process, in developing a process for how you do that. It's about the hiring, the onboarding, where you're marketing, making sure that your culture is intact. Like, there's a lot, and we can't get to it all in the last few minutes, but certainly reach out and we can talk more. Hope
Absolutely.
that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wasn't dancing around it. That's cute though, because I like to dance. But here's the thing. The thing is, there, just like Karen said, there's layers and layers to it. And it starts with you deciding what your first hire is going to be. Like, it's just that, it's that simple. If you're really amazing in one area, then your first hire needs to be either the opposite strength or somebody that's going to bring in sales. Those are the only two first hire positions ever. Because when you're starting in business, we need to be bringing in money, or it's just an expensive hobby. So that would be, if you're just getting started, that would be the exact way to hire. If you have further questions, like if that is actually the thing that you want us to dissect next week, bring us more information about where you are in your business and we'll go even deeper. Oh wait, and then I meant to end with, so whoever needs a mentor, to find a SCORE mentor, here's the information. And Karen, do we have any other questions? We're good. So Karen and I will wait on the chat for a couple more minutes. If we have, question. My business partner and I bought a small business that we have worked for the last 25 years. Can we get a mentor as we need advice on more on the book side? And yep, you guys, you absolutely qualify. They would love to help you. Yep, absolutely. Here, I'm going to move this out of the way so you can grab this slide. And you can go right to the SCORE website and request a mentor. Just fill out, it's like a little form, fill it out, and they will take care of you. Yeah, that's a great question. So we talk fast, but I hope you got a lot of value from our time together tonight. And Karen and I will stay on for the next few minutes to answer any other questions, and know that we would rather let you go free and enjoy your life than keep you tied down for the whole hour, right? So we'll stay as long as you need us. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. I can't wait to hear about how it goes with your mentor. That's great that you guys have been in this business for 25 years. That's awesome. So yeah, we'll stick around. But we will see you next Monday, same time, 7 to 9, and we're going to dive into part 2. So bring your real life problems and at work, and we're going to dissect some things for you.
Again, thanks for coming, everybody. You are free to go. Enjoy this last hour. Hope to see you next week.
Denise, I did the Goldman and Sachs program. I think I was cohort 13. It is amazing. Yeah, it's such an amazing program. So that's wonderful. And you got the people part is the hardest part in business. Who would have thought? I didn't think that when I was just getting started either. Thank you so much. You're so welcome. We enjoyed being here with you all. Do we have any more questions? No? So Karen, do you have any questions?
I don't.
Really?
I'm going to go ahead and end the session, but
Okay.
feel free to reach out to us. Send us an email. You can connect with us on our socials, connect with SCORE to get free mentoring. And we'll see you on the other side.
See you Monday.